Stalker 2 released today. It's had a slightly bumpier launch than expected, but let's dive into it. A couple days ago, there was this scare from GSC, I believe, on their Steam page. They had removed some lines relating to A-Life in the description, and a statement was put out later. I'll attach that image later on. It went along the lines of, "We are not removing A-Life, calm down. We are just reformatting the description. We're putting in more keywords, what have you, but why would you want to remove something that your game is known for, something that's iconic for some buzzwords?" Anyway, the community manager put everyone at ease and said, "Oh, there's still A-Life, don't worry about it." Now, after the game's release, people aren't so sure about that. This premonition about no A-Life appears to be ringing true. Where is the A-Life? If Stalker's friend and foe are just spawning around right in front of you, it takes you out of the game. It isn't immersive. True A-Life is online and offline. That means it happens while the player doesn't see it. If a squad spawns directly in front of you, that's not immersive. A-Life is meant to simulate life in the zone. Some theorize that consoles actually held us back in this regard. I'm not too sure about that, but maybe. I actually just read this post on Discord. I don't know if this was from an actual staff member, but they were saying that in the lesser zone, spawn rates were fucked. Well, maybe that's the case, maybe not. Regardless of how well received it may be, people are complaining on multiple fronts. Discord, the official Stalker Discord, plenty of people are taking to their keyboards, letting their frustration be known. On the r/Stalker subreddit, which is, at first glance, important. Why? Because they do not take criticism well. Usually when something negative is said, if somebody has a differing opinion, they are downvoted, the comment is removed, what have you. But here, there are actual upvotes and genuine criticism occurring. They aren't so sure anymore. And we've also got the Stalker general thread on 4chan. This is trickier because it's 4chan. Nonetheless, they seem to have the relatively same idea as r/Stalker, albeit a little more unorthodox. Metascore is bouncing back and forth between the 70s and 80s, with 80 being the mean score I've seen so far, until tomorrow noon. Currently, it stands at 74 for PC and 82 for Xbox. There have been a few good bugs, like stalkers floating a classic callback really to Call of Duty. This one bug in the beginning where if you approach this house, it soft locks the camera and you can't do anything. That's amazing.
Let's get.
Need some help, Stalker? Well, show me what you've got.
Okay. I thought you said E.
That was my.
This one video underground where snorks are crawling in place. There is an apparent lack of optimization, which is a glaring issue for everyone, players and critics alike. This is probably one of, if not the most important issues. No one can play your game if they can't play it. Already, code is being written up and tiny Unreal fixes attempted to try and work around this slightly, but I doubt anything real is going to happen for a while. This is also the case with A-Life. People are digging into the files, trying to work things out. Now, I'm not saying it's tanking the release, but if you had a good release, you wouldn't have people taking your game apart to try and fix it, you know what I mean? But let's continue. GSC says that patches will be rolled out around the clock in the coming days, so be on the lookout for that. Xbox players already had a little taste of this with the 100GB update before release, but notably, this was just downloading and repacking the files again. It wasn't actually that big. Mutants, bloodsuckers in particular, are said to be bullet spongy. Stealth is a mixed bag, with people saying that they can be right in front of someone and they won't see them at all. If you compare the alpha flashlight of Stalker 2 to what we have now, it's much brighter, it's much better, really. I just want to point it out. This is probably because it had to release on consoles. There had to be at least some optimization involved, even if we're not really seeing much of that optimization, you know? On YouTube, one of the very first videos recommended about this is, right now, I cannot recommend Stalker 2, garnering 18,000 views from Skill Up. However, this guy also complained about inventory space, but he was carrying way too much. Still, he should be heard. His points are still valid, even if he is kind of stupid. In the actual story of the game, well, that's a different story. The story is said to be open-ended, with GSC no longer dictating it to you, but you rather making your own as it goes along. Not a bad idea, and certainly a new take. This leaves things more in the hands of the player. Very interesting. Xbox is concerned about dead zones in their controllers. This is pretty important to have, especially if you have stick drift, if you have an older controller, whatever it may be. This is important to have, to configure, to control. So if you don't have that, I'd imagine it's very frustrating. There is a fix posted to r/stalker to fix mouse input lag, including mouse smoothing and acceleration. Apparently this is a pretty big one. Why include it if no one wants it? Every time you start the game, you have to compile shaders. Not a huge fan, but as with the performance and optimization, Unreal Engine 5 is big and bulky. Go figure, shit like this will happen. Is it good? No. Does anybody want to sit through that every time it launches up? No, but oh well. Flashlights have a problem with bindings, but GSC is aware. The writing is iffy, according to some reviewers. There are no binoculars. For the original players, this one hits hard. Hearing that scanner go off and detect those hidden stalkers far away in a bush about to snipe you with a Taz, that was it, man. However, the map is truly huge, bigger than anything, and the most realistic zone to date. For every downside, there's something good to look towards. It's not a total flop. I'm sure with some major wrangling, we could potentially get this back on track. Counting the most major issues in mind, i.e. performance, A-life, or lack of, spongy mutants, etc., and the bugs, the majority of people say that Stalker 2 really isn't that bad. They say there's jank, and if you're a Stalker fan, you should be used to jank. To get down to it though, and stop memeing, when does jank stop becoming jank and an actual valid point? When the game struggles to run or can no longer have progression? Anyway, for the most part, Stalker 2 is seen favorably, and the community will survive. If the game is a total failure or cannot improve, mods will save us, just as they have so many years ago. We've made it to release, and that's what matters. We will have more patches, we will have community fixes. We've already had community fixes, so hope is on the horizon. This isn't Ray of Hope, where it'll never fucking release. We got it. That's what matters. We have it. Now, we have to focus on what we can do. For those of you personally interested, I'll be releasing some gameplay later on, and if there's more news like this, more of an outrage, I suppose, more of the community being vocal like this, I'll cover that too. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was cautiously optimistic about this. I still think there's a lot we can do about it. Am I happy about the season pass or DLCs? No, but I understand that companies need to make money no matter what. How does that figure of speech go? The first step to solving a problem is identifying it. It was something like that. Well, We're certainly identifying our problems, aren't we? And we're kind of pissed about it too, actually, but it's alright. We'll fix it.